The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thursday, January 2nd. I hope you guys had a great New Year's Eve. You know, I will say, I was about to say, you know what's funny? That was a joke. There's nothing funny. But anyway, what I will say is, man, it was an interesting New Year's. I genuinely felt like there was just less of everything on New Year's and for New Year's Eve this year. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm curious if you guys felt the same way. But, you know, maybe it's because, you know, New Year's fell on a Tuesday night and then you had Wednesday. And then a lot of people have to work today and also tomorrow. So maybe it just didn't get the attention it normally does. But I saw way less postings just from my own friend network. And then the people that did post, you know, a lot less reactions on the posts and things like that. And, you know, overall, I just felt like there was less attention being brought to New Year's. And it didn't really feel like the end of the year. You know, there was a lot less, I guess, cumulative news stories that, you know, talked about all the things that happened in 2024. I didn't hear like the top songs of 2024. I mean, maybe I just missed it all. But anyway, I feel like there was a lot less attention, I guess, to the concept of New Year's. And again, I don't know. Maybe that's just because everybody is so burnt out of life to an extent, and all of the craziness we have encountered for the past 4 years and even last year. And obviously the election, I think, took its toll on people and all that jazz. Anyway, I didn't listen to, or I didn't watch any of the, you know, I guess the old school Dick Clark's New Year's. I don't even think that's around anymore. I think Ryan Seacrest might have taken the place. I don't even know if Ryan Seacrest New Year's is around, but I know CNN does one with Anderson Cooper and Andy. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the guy's name, but they had comedian Whitney Cummings on, and I think she won the internet on New Year's Eve with this scorched roast of a take, which left Anderson Cooper speechless for the first time. So if you haven't seen this, I guarantee you CNN will never be inviting Whitney Cummings back on.
2024 election fried our brains. The Democrats couldn't hold a primary because they were too busy holding a body upright. Are we still rolling? Am I off?
Go for it.
It was amazing that the pro-choice party didn't give their voters one when it came to the presidential candidate. Kamala was forced on us so hard you'd think she was patented by Pfizer or Moderna, whichever one's, oh God. Andy just gave me a very scary look.
No!
That was seriously scorched earth against the Dems, talking about holding Biden up. Kamala was forced on us, kind of like Pfizer, Moderna vaccine. That was pretty hardcore. And I am curious to see if there's any fallout. I'll keep an eye on that. But Whitney Cummings, good for you. Speaking your truth. All right. By the way, I did want to share another TV recommendation for you guys. I know you love these, but I watched the Aaron Rodgers documentary on Netflix. It's called Enigma. And I have to tell you, it was really well done. It was really well done. And, you know, whether you like Aaron Rodgers or you don't like Aaron Rodgers, personally, I like Aaron Rodgers because the guy speaks his truth. And again, it doesn't matter if you agree with him or don't agree with him, but you have to respect that he, you know, does not bow down to what he is supposed to do. And so anyway, it's a really interesting documentary. It kind of shows you, you know, in many ways, it sort of humanizes a professional athlete at the level of Aaron Rodgers is, at the level that he is. Obviously, it talks a lot about how he became who he is. You know, this was a guy, you know, similar to Tom Brady, somebody that was not recruited heavily out of college or out of high school, I'm sorry. And then, basically worked his butt off in order to get to where he is today. And, he also has some very alternative kind of views on things. Like he does alternative medicine like ayahuasca and a few other things that, again, I mean, like, I'm not into any of that stuff. I don't think I'd ever necessarily do that, but it is very interesting to see, his really, in many ways, his personal journey with, I guess, what he thinks is the right thing. So it's really good. There's 3 episodes. I think each episode is like an hour long, but it's called Enigma and it is on Netflix. So I definitely recommend that one. All right, shifting gears. So it looks like the only major, I guess, awful thing that happened on New Year's Eve was some guy drove his truck on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And if you've ever been to New Orleans and Bourbon Street, obviously those are closed off streets to vehicles for the most part, and they're ridiculously crowded. And by the way, I went to like 10 Mardi Gras in a row. That's ridiculous. That is seriously ridiculous that I did that. But I literally think I did. Maybe not 10, but man, we went to a lot of Mardi Gras. And Mardi Gras back in the day was super fun. I don't think I've got the energy or the whatever to do Mardi Gras anymore. But man, Mardi Gras back in the day was good times. All right. Anyway, let's give a listen to this. Unbelievably unfortunate because it looks like 10 people were killed.
We had this event started at about 3:15. It did involve a man driving a pickup truck down Bourbon Street at a very fast pace, and it was very intentional behavior. This man was trying to run over as many people as he possibly could. It was not a DUI situation. This is a more complex and more serious based on the information we have right now. We have 10 people that this man killed. He fired on our officers from his vehicle when he crashed his vehicle. 2 of our officers have been shot. They are stable, and we will give you an update on them. Because of the intentional mindset of this perpetrator who went around our barricades in order to conduct this, he was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. We have enough information that the FBI will be taking over this investigation.
All right, that is seriously, absolutely horrible. But the reason I wanted to talk about it for a second is because, I mean, this is interesting. So the suspect who drove the white Ford truck into a crowd on New Orleans' famous Bourbon Street early morning on Wednesday has been named as 42-year-old Shamsud Din Jabber, or Jabber. Jabber is a U.S. citizen and a Texas resident. Okay, so he's a U.S. citizen and a Texas resident, and he drove a rental car into New Orleans to carry out the attack. Jabber was shot dead by police after the gunfire exchange. So now, this is the part that, I don't know, this stuff just stands out to me. And again, maybe I read too much into things these days. Maybe I do. But anyway, it says the FBI is treating the attack as an act of terrorism. A black ISIS flag was flown on Jabber's truck. So, ISIS has entered the chat. I've talked a lot in a variety of episodes about, what I think is going to be a disruptor. Let's leave it at that, a disruptor. And that is another, I guess, Muslims versus Christianity, another, I don't even know what the heck word I'm looking for, but basically setting up another situation where, there's extreme Muslim activity that then is a gateway in order to do something else. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I think I'm hypercritical about this stuff these days because of just, I don't know, my awareness to everything. So maybe this is what it seems to be on the surface and maybe not. I will say, I think the Super Bowl is in New Orleans this year. Let me check that. Yes, the 2025 Super Bowl is in New Orleans at the Mercedes-Benz, or wait, is it the Caesars Superdome? Yeah, I think it's called the Caesars Superdome. So the other thing about this guy is that he was an Army veteran. So, I hope they look into that a little more and obviously, see if there's any PTSD situations and all that. So, you've got the ISIS flag on one side. And then again, I think, the fact is the guy is a US citizen. He's an Army veteran. So it's like, why would he do this? I don't know, man. I don't know. But keep an eye out. I'm glad that seems to be the only thing negative that took place last night or on New Year's Eve. All right, switching topics to health. Man, I can't even believe it's been a year that I talked about this. But anyway, I highly recommend starting out the year with, doing a few different things. First of all, if you're somebody that does not weigh themselves on a daily or regular basis, just weigh yourself. Weigh yourself one time, the beginning of the year. If you only want to do it one time, do it, this week and put that in an iPhone note or put that in a calendar event on your calendar so you know what your weight is at the beginning of 2025. And then at least if you want to even wait a full year, you'll know what your weight is next year. Personally, I literally do weigh myself every single morning. It's part of, just my routine. I find it keeps me completely accountable to myself in terms of, my eating and dietary choices that day. So I highly recommend. Honestly, I personally think you should weigh yourself, if not on a daily basis, at least on a weekly basis. Mine's tracks in, my app. I have a Wise, WYZE smart scale, so I keep track of it. I don't know. I just love tracking this stuff. I really do. And I think that it's really cool to, even see my weight fluctuations over the course of the year, and then especially shifting gears to step count. I think step count, obviously, in 2025 is something I'm going to continue to track on a daily basis. And since I use the Fitbit, I'm able to compare, basically my yearly step counts to see, basically how I'm doing year over year. So for me last year, I ended up taking 4,403,811 steps, and I averaged 12,032 steps per day. So that was 2024. And then, like I said, what's cool is I can compare that to my 2023. And in 2023, I basically took 4.25 million. So I took more steps in 2024 than 2023. I increased my daily average by 1,000. I don't know. I like knowing this stuff. I really do. I like knowing this stuff. I think it's actually very helpful to know this stuff. Now, as I was embarrassed last year, I'm going to get embarrassed again this year, but I'm going to share this for motivation. But our mom in 2024, this is insane. Our mom took 5,140,391 steps. That is ridiculous. She averaged 14,045 steps a day in 2024. And compared to 2023, oh my God, 2023, she did 5,127,000 steps. So she beat her 2023 and 2024 by like 13,000 steps. That is seriously insane and amazing. You go, Mom. I mean, that's crazy. All right, that's motivation for everybody. Seriously, 2025, start the year off right. Weigh yourself if you have not weighed yourself or if you don't weigh yourself. Number 2, seriously, get a Fitbit or get some type of tracker, either whatever tracking mechanism, not your phone. Get something you wear on your wrist because, again, I said it before, I'm going to say it again to start out the year. When you're cognizant of your steps because you're wearing something on your wrist, you just take more. You end up taking more. You really do. And like I said, I'm going to talk a lot more about health this year. I do recommend, again, getting your blood test, as part of maybe an annual physical, or if you can get it done in the month of January, I think it's a great call. I think I did mine in February of last year, and I'm going to go back this month and get another complete blood test done. And basically, if you ask your doctor and say, hey, I want a complete blood test, it's going to be what's called a complete blood count, CBC, where they're going to basically measure your red and white blood cells, and it'll help to detect anemia, infections, and other disorders. The comprehensive metabolic panel, this is like the big one because it includes glucose, electrolytes, meaning your sodium and potassium levels. It measures your kidney function. It measures your liver to see if all that stuff is working properly. And then it also includes the lipid panel. And the lipid panel is really the thing that gets the most attention for the most part. And that is your total cholesterol, your LDL, which they call the bad cholesterol, your HDL, which they call the good cholesterol. And then the one I personally find very important is triglycerides, which is the measure of fat in your blood cells. So again, that comprehensive metabolic panel, it's called the CMP, that will include all of that stuff. It'll test for your thyroid functioning, and so it'll test for your TSH, your free T3, and then free T4. Those are thyroid evaluators to basically see if your thyroid is working properly. And, one thing I decided to do this year is I'm going to kind of go body part by body part and maybe do episodes that, talk about the different systems of our body and then even talk about, specific things like the thyroid. So I'll tackle that in the future here. And then the other thing that you should ask to get tested is your vitamin and mineral levels. They're pretty much going to test for vitamin D, vitamin B12, and then your iron panel. So those are three things that they normally test for on the vitamin side. I like to test my hormone levels as well. So testosterone for men and progesterone for women. So they'll basically test what's called your DHEA and cortisol to see if there's a concern about your adrenal health. So ask about your hormone levels. And then the other one, this one actually is something I really like to understand because it's not really well understood, but it's pretty important. And that is your inflammation markers. And it's something called the CRP, C-reactive protein. And that C-reactive protein or CRP is a marker for inflammation. So, I personally think that internal inflammation inside our bodies is probably the cause of every issue that we have. So understanding where your CRP marker is can basically help you realize if you do have inflammation internally. And then a lot of times that is, kind of what you can pinpoint as being the cause of pain in many cases, pain in your joints, when you've got pain in your elbows or your knees or anywhere, chances are you've got inflammation going on, and chances are you've got water that's accumulated. And so your joints just don't have as much room to move. And that's really where your pain is being caused. So make sure they check for that C-reactive protein. And then the other one that they'll test for, I'm sure, is, for diabetes and blood sugar control. So you've got your hemoglobin A1C. So this is kind of always shortened as maybe HA1C. And this is the average blood sugar over the past 3 months. I don't know how this calculates it, but supposedly it's supposed to give you an average number for your blood sugar over the past 3 months. And a lot of times this will be like 5.5, 5.7, 6.1, things like that. And so it'll be a number in that range. And then they'll also give you your fasting glucose. By the way, when you take this blood test, make sure you're fasting. Make sure you did not eat for personally, I like to do it for at least like 12 hours. I like to not eat so my blood is as clean as possible. But your fasting glucose levels, again, here you're looking for something under 100. Okay, there's a couple optional tests. One is uric acid, and that tests for gout and kidney health. I actually think it's a great call to get your magnesium tested. So that's for muscle and nerve function. A lot of people, take magnesium supplements and they really do help. And then folate is the other one. So anyway, overall, again, you don't really need to memorize all these when you go into your doctor. If you want, you can, but you could also, if you want, go into ChatGPT and just say, hey, ChatGPT, it's time for my annual physical. I want a complete blood exam. What should I ask my doctor for? And honestly, it'll spit it out for you. And that's exactly what I did. And I was kind of reading a lot of this off of my phone, off of the ChatGPT. So it says, for a comprehensive blood exam during your annual physical, you can ask your doctor to order the following tests. And it basically gives it all to you. So again, don't worry about memorizing all this stuff. Make sure you download the ChatGPT app and just ask ChatGPT what those are. And then when you go into your doctor, you can basically open up the app and read it. See how easy that is? And now we're combining health and AI into one. This is the beauty of the good of technology. All right, holy mackerel. I just got this alert while I was recording that last bit, but it's a Cybertruck, a Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside of Trump Tower in Las Vegas. So I went and looked at the video and yeah, this is wild. Like a Cybertruck literally exploded outside of Trump Tower. Who knows, by the time we're listening to this, maybe more will come out on this, but that definitely, whatever ends up being the case, has to have been done on purpose, because obviously Elon Musk and Tesla and then Donald Trump and Trump Tower, somebody just sent a weird, crazy $150,000 message to the world. All right, I'm going to end with this, jumping back into a little bit of the AI stuff, and I really want to set the stage for this year. But one thing that I did find on a guy that I really like is he came out with his best AI apps of 2024, and here they are. So I'm going to read these to you, and again, I highly, highly recommend. If you have any questions, let me know. But get started on, well, definitely the first three. So the number one app of 2024 was Perplexity. And again, that's an AI-powered search assistant that provides concise answers and insights by summarizing information from multiple sources. So think of it as like the next evolution of Google. And it really does a nice job. Claude was number two. Claude, again, is a powerful conversational AI tool. This is probably the biggest direct competitor to the number three app, which was ChatGPT. We've talked about ChatGPT a lot. Honestly, it's still my favorite. I think it's still the best of class out there. So ChatGPT was number four. ChatGPT was number three. Cursor is number four. That's a coding assistant. Not going to talk too much about that. 11 Labs was number five. 11 Labs, that's the one I use to create the automated voices. We've talked about that a bunch. Number six was HeyGen. Actually, HeyGen is really cool. HeyGen is almost like 11 Labs, but instead of focusing on voices, it gives you basically avatars, and you can clone yourself actually and have yourself talk. You know, I started using HeyGen for a few different things, and honestly, I don't know. For me, it becomes a little bit cheesy. I think it probably has good business applications where they can use it to create a bunch of videos and things like that. But HeyGen is number six. Number seven is something called Gamma. It's an AI-driven platform that enables users to create stunning presentations. I don't know too much about Gamma. I'll have to look at that. Number eight is Suno. I've used this one before. It basically takes your text prompts and turns it into music and turns it into a song. Again, cool, but I find that after I played around with it a few times, it just got old. Number 9 is Midjourney, and Midjourney is really an art generator. It's pretty incredible. Midjourney and then something called Runway ML. Those are probably the two most advanced video/art generating AI products. So I'll dig into more of those later. And then the number 10 best AI app of 2024, which I am surprised this is all the way to number 10 because I love it. It's Notebook LM. And that's the one that, I've created podcast episodes using Notebook LM. And really it's more intended to be a summarization tool for you. So again, that's by Google. It's completely free, Notebook LM. Okay, there you have it. Top 10 AI apps of 2024. I'm sure those 10 will continue to, get better, and then there'll probably be a bunch of new ones. All right, that's it, everybody. Have a great weekend, and looking forward to this year. And please let me know, any feedback, other things you want me to talk about. I don't know, anything. Do I need to do anything better? I am very, very open to feedback. So let me know, and I will be looking for, more great guests to bring the guest interviews. I really want to take that to the next level. I really do. So that's it, everybody. All right. Have a great day. Call a spade a spade. Enjoy the weekend.
That was a great way to end it.
This episode was brought to you by the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.